I'm in Shirley Church Road in Croydon. The Addington golf course is just back that way. And this is a story about Swiss Lodge, a house whose future is at risk. Now, Swiss Lodge is one of the number of lodges that surrounded the Addington estate. Some are still quite visible at Addington Park and as the entrance to Addington Palace Golf Club on Gravel Hill. This is Swiss Lodge. Now, like many lodges, it's a fairly basic construction, and over time necessary changes have been made. But despite its history and connection to the area, the property is at risk of demolition. So we have here a notice of the intention to carry out the demolition on the 10th of February 2025. And we've got some really nice signs that have been placed here by a local lady, Gemma, very passionate about retaining this historical presence, as indeed am I. The brickwork you see is very nice, very decorative, the mock Tudor style, but it's not actually how it was originally. There was a cladding in front of it. I'm going to read a couple of things that have been documented about the building here and about the process to get it listed. On my recent application for listing, they said the building was considered for listing in 2023. They said that at that time, the Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport decided not to add the building to the list of buildings of special architectural or historic interest. They said, "We will not therefore be taking your application any further unless you are able to provide us with substantial new evidence that was not considered during the previous assessment." It's quite difficult with a building of this setup, typically a single main room and cooking area, bedroom, that kind of thing. It's a very basic property, as many lodge houses were, of course. So to suddenly find something now that would change that judgment, I think sadly we're very unlikely to do that. Now, they gave me a copy of the decision from 2023, and again I'll read out a couple of extracts from that. In terms of the history, they said the lodge is not currently locally listed nor in a conservation area, but is situated next to the boundary of Addington Palace Park and Garden, also Grade 2 listed, and within the park is Addington Palace itself, which is also Grade 2 listed. Now, it refers to a live planning application. I'll put a link in the comments below. And it said that Croydon Council themselves have stated that the building is of some architectural and historic merit, and that its significance lies in its scale, vernacular detailing, unique appearance and its historical role in the development of the area. And they added that they considered Swiss Lodge to be a non-designated heritage asset which contributes positively to the character and appearance of the area. Now, that's quite a good statement to be made in terms of preserving history and trying to do something to retain what we have now. And whilst pleased to see those comments, they didn't actually add any value in this particular case. There's a bit more about the history. Current Addington Palace House was constructed 1772 to 1780, and Lancelot Capability Brown commissioned to design the parkland from 1781. The site was purchased by the Church of England in 1807 and served as a summer residence for the Archbishop of Canterbury. In 1829, a terrace garden to the east of the house had been created and a rhododendron walk from a Swiss Lodge to the north, which is the very property we have here, of course. It passed into private ownership in 1950 and was, according to the applicant, subsequently renovated in 1963 when the wood cladding was removed due to dry rot. It says archive photographs indicate that a number of alterations have taken place since the building was constructed, including replacement of the original timber cladding, replacement of the original roof and chimney stacks, and replacement of fenestrations. The mock timber framing also appears to be later in date, possibly associated with the 1963 renovation. So that was the assessment. We've had some very positive comments from Croydon, and we've had a kind of objective assessment from the presentation of facts that was made and any other investigation that perhaps they may have carried out. So the actual wording of the decline that they gave us in 2023 and repeated again in 2025, the lodge has undergone a substantial amount of alteration, including replacement of the roof and chimney stacks, removal of the distinctive timber cladding and replacement of fenestration, which has detracted from its architectural interest. Whilst of some architectural merit, given the alterations to the exterior, the lodge no longer exhibits a sufficient degree of survival of original fabric. Now, I know from a previous application I made that that's a very key point when you're trying to get a building listed. The final point. Although there are claims to group value with the Grade 2 registered Addington Palace Park and Garden and associated listed buildings, this is insufficient to confer special interest given the above considerations. And it makes me think, well, in this situation, where can we go? Well, we do have an opportunity to challenge planning applications. I think that the comment they made about in keeping with the appearance of the area is very, very important. And I think what I'd like to see, and I've seen done on a number of different projects, even in the borough, is where the construction can retain the original presence of the building. Now, I know it might need a degree of modernisation to the interior and obviously some securing up, that kind of thing. But I think there needs to be a will and a way whereby you retain what's here, the visual of what's here, and then maybe develop further out the back, but in keeping. The application most recently on record is for 8 flats, and I just think that is unlike anything that we've got in this particular part of the area. But it's down to the process to determine the final outcome. But I just think it would be a tragedy to say that even though this has been through changes, that it would just be demolished, just flattened to the ground, all reference to it gone, and we wouldn't be able to enjoy its visual. And I have to say, the first time I did a walk past here, it was a head turner because I thought I wanted to know more about it. And for the best part of 200 years, from when William Hooley had it constructed, it's had a presence on the landscape here. So I just hope that common sense can prevail. I hope that something can be done. I hope that we can retain this piece of history, and that my documenting it here isn't just another one of those, it'll end up just being a spot on the map in the future. So please, whoever's involved, try and do your bit for history. Let's see if we can save Swiss Lodge.